Today I'm back with another KDE customization video, and today we'll try to make KDE look like Gnome. And keep in mind there are lots of restrictions, a lot of stuff that I can't emulate, so I'm just going to try to capture the look and feel as much as I can. So yeah, the first thing you will want to do is you will want to get the latte doc. And so I'm using Manjaro KDE, so in this case the command I'll be using is sudo pacman -S latte-doc, and should take just a couple seconds to install, but if you already do have it, go ahead and launch that up. And so instead of an actual panel, we'll be using the latte doc, which technically turns into a panel. So if you right click on the dock and then you go to layouts, you have the option to check unity, so you can do that. And so this makes things easier, so we don't have to work with the default panel, so you can just click on these bars here, more settings, and then remove panel. So next up, as you can see, we have the layout for the most part, but there's still some stuff that we have to change. The one thing that I can't really change is the clock here. I can't really display the day. The only options you have is the date and all that type of stuff, but I think that this looks the most like Gnome. So yeah, so in terms of the system tray, let me just remove Octopi for a second. So you can right click the arrow, go to system tray settings, and so Gnome, as far as I remember, it has the sound, it has the network, and then the power. So I'm going to remove, I think this is the device notifier. Okay, and one thing I remember that it has is the logout/login. So right click on the panel and click add widgets and just type in logout. You can double click on it, it should appear, but if it doesn't, then I guess let's try dragging it onto the panel. Okay, there we go. So it has both of these icons. I don't remember Gnome having both, so let's right click on it and configure it, and let's just put it to leave so that we have this icon. Also, we don't really have these settings right here, like this menu or these options, so let's go ahead and right click on the panel, dock/panel settings, and let's remove these by pressing the red X for both of them. So let's see this. Manjaro, for some reason the application menu does not want to be removed, because this default application menu will have to change that. So let's go back and try again. Okay, there we go. Alright, so what you're going to want to add now is this. So go to add widgets, and then let's take a look at the application launcher. So let's drag this here. So it's fine if it appears in a different spot, we'll just edit that. And the second thing is the let's take a look at what it was called. Okay, so it's the global menu, so let's add that as well. Alright, so once you've added both things, we can edit the panel again, and let's put this menu first and then the global menu second. So basically what we just did is we added a full screen menu. Oops, that's the wrong one. Let's see, application dashboard, there we go, application dashboard, my bad. So let's remove that again and add the dashboard first. Okay. So what we just did is we added the application dashboard, which is the full screen menu, which is the closest thing in KDE that mimics the Gnome menu. And then the second thing we added was this. Now every time you open up a window, you get these settings right here as you otherwise would using GNOME. So the panel is, the top panel at least, is looking pretty good so far, but we do have some stuff to change still. So go to the system settings, and under workspace theme, click on that and go to desktop theme and click get new theme. And so a theme that I really like is the alpha black. So just get the one that says Breeze Alpha Black and just install that. So now you can apply it, and as you can see, the panel got darker, so it's not really transparent, but the good thing is that if you right click and go to add widget, you get this alpha black control. So if we put it here temporarily, at least, so it's right here. Okay, so if we put it just temporarily on the panel, we can make the panel either fully opaque, or if we want, we can make it transparent. So as you can see here, we have multiple options, and also the pop-ups get the option, which what I would recommend is, instead of black, which is the default color, just try to go for a dark gray, which as far as I remember, that's how it is for the default GNOME shell. Tends to be kind of a grayish color. So we'll just leave it like that for now, and let's just remove this real quick. Okay, so the top panel is looking really good. Another thing is that even though KDE has a widget that says activities on it, it doesn't really do anything. So you could technically add it if you want. And also, even if you don't add this widget right here, and you would just want your icons to appear, it wouldn't look the same as the default like GNOME style, where it just says the name of the application and then it has an arrow going down. You don't really have an option to make it look that similar, so we'll just stick with this for now. And let's take a look at the side panel here. So let's right click on that and go to dock/panel settings, and what you have to do is go to justify, and you'll get these spacers. So the digital clock, we don't really need that, so we'll just get rid of that. And now, as you can see, it extends. If you want to change it even more, you can go to appearance and then enable the advanced settings, and you have a bunch of settings here. We'll just kind of lower down the size a little bit, but everything else looks good in my opinion. Of course, you can change this as much as you'd like to fit your interests and whatnot. So what we can do is we can add widgets, and then we can do the dashboard again. So just drag it here. And so right now it was in the middle of these spacers, so it should be at the bottom. There we go. And so we can access the menu again like this. If you want, you can right click on it and go to configure, and then you can see that the icon gives you the option to choose other icons, ones that you have installed, so you can make it look the same as the menu in the in GNOME. But I don't have the same icon. I tried looking it up online, I couldn't find anything. But if you do want to make it look the same, you can. So that's an option right there. And actually, let me just because everything looks a bit too gray, so let's kind of make the panel a bit more transparent so that it's not as noticeable. Okay, I think that's better. but of course, again, like I said, everything is up to you. You can make it the way you want it to be. Plus, like, you can be creative with it, you know. Let's change the wallpaper to something that looks less KDE like. Okay, so it's looking like this. And again, I mean, if you don't want it to be so transparent, but you don't want it to look gray either, you could just you can choose black. That works well. So that's pretty much it for the panel. Okay, so now we have other stuff to change. So if you go to workspace theme, you can actually go to splash screen and you can disable it to none, so that it doesn't load up the typical splash screen. But if we go to cursor theme, depending on your distro, it might have it, but what we're looking for is DMZ white. So if you get new theme, you can type in DMZ, and then the one that I have used is this one right here. Not sure if you can see that. Oh wait, not that one, the PRA-DMZ. So it should appear, and let's see where it is. There it is. So we can apply. So now the cursor looks a lot more like it. For colors, you can get new scheme, and I think, I'm not too sure if there was, oops, not Chrome, Gnome. Yeah, for color scheme, I'm not too sure if there's anything, but essentially the good thing about KDE is that it gives you a lot of options. So all you have to do is click edit scheme, and you can change every color manually. As far as I remember, Gnome applications tend to have a very light and white background, kind of like this right here. So I think Zion would probably be the closest to that, apart from the title bar. We'll get into that in a second. And apart from the kind of purple highlight color. But again, like I said, you can change that yourself. For icons, if we go to icon theme, we should have Gnome installed by default, but of course you can just get new themes and you can install it. So let's click apply. So everything might not change right away, but essentially if you restart Gnome, or not Gnome, KDE, so let's try that. So let's log out real quick, and the icon should now change. And there we go, the icons changed, but 1 second, let me just fix my display real quick. Alright, so now I fixed just some minor stuff. So as you can see, the icons are more like it. Definitely looks a lot better now. So if we go to back to system settings, we need to do something about this title bar. So go ahead and go into application style, leave widget style as is, and go to window decorations. I've tried to find something similar to Gnome, and honestly I haven't really done much of a good job at it. I tried typing in Gnome, but I just get these options here. So what I would just recommend is just using just the what's it called, Oxygen theme. And if you want, you can go ahead and if you want, you can make kind of the title bar a bit bigger, because I remember that Gnome has a bit bigger title bar than usual as default. Because yeah, I did try typing in Adwaita, I think it's pronounced, not sure how you pronounce it exactly. But I'm not really getting options, so maybe you have to improvise for that. And for the GNOME application style, make sure that the theme here is the Advaita as well as this one, and then click apply. Also, don't forget to make the cursor theme the same as the one that you just downloaded or installed. And yeah, so again, I mean, the title bar isn't too similar, but like I said, there are just some restrictions that you can't really change. And also another thing that you can do is if you go ahead and go to the terminal and you install, for example, sudo. So in my case, again, I'm using Manjaro, so it's going to be pacman-S, and then type in Nautilus. So this is basically the file manager, and so the good thing is that for GNOME applications, they have their default style. So if we go ahead and search for it, as you can see, the icon here looks the same, and also we have the correct icon themes installed, and also the title bar is how it should be. And we can also pin that so that we can have that right here. Also, another thing is, I mean, if you want the GNOME terminal, then type in GNOME-terminal, and then you can be using the GNOME terminal as well. So if you pair up this theme with, there we go. So if you pair up this theme with GNOME applications, then it looks all the better. And the last thing I would say that I can think of is if we go back to system settings, and also fonts, you can change the fonts. I never really mess around with fonts, so that's up to you. But one thing you can do is if you go to startup and shutdown, you'll see that this is the login manager. So if you want, go ahead and instead of cursor theme, instead of the default one, go ahead and choose the one that we installed so that it's so that it matches. Once you're at the login screen, just enter your password. Just 1 second. Okay. And so for theme, what you can do is there isn't really a specific theme, but one thing you can do is you can choose any one of these themes. I forget how the GNOME login screen looks. I think it's no, I mean, all of these are different, like I said, but the good thing is that you can go to background and you can load image from file, and then if you look up the default image that the login manager uses, then you can make it look at least a little bit more similar. But apart from that, again, there are just some small tweaks here and there that I've showed you that you can just play around, and you know, you can make it look as close as you can to the default GNOME look, but at the end of the day, the good thing is that you can also make it up to your personal preference, to how you prefer things, which is nice, and that's the thing that I love about Linux. But of course, something like the system tray, it's kind of hard to mimic. The icons, they don't really change no matter what theme you apply. In terms of the panel, we have the application launcher here, which is pretty close, pretty similar. It's just that at the top here, I can't really make it so that you have the activities and all that type of stuff. The clock looks pretty nice. The mouse looks nice along with the icon set. And like I said, if you combine this, all these themes that we've applied and everything, if you combine that with GNOME applications, then it looks all the better. And of course, wallpaper is personal preference. Like things that are kind of out of reach in terms of customizing, or like I said, like the login manager can be kind of difficult to mimic fully, and also like the GNOME shell. I mean, we have this looking gray and whatnot, so you know, we can kind of make it look similar, but again, we can't mimic it completely. So this was pretty much it. This is kind of my take on GNOME using KDE. Hope you liked it. If you have any questions, feel free to write down a comment. I usually try to respond and try to be as helpful as I can, so who knows, maybe you might have a problem that I could help fix. So thanks for watching, and have a good one.